Thank you. Thank you very much. How many people know what an ice boat is or ever been on one? Got a few hands. Okay. I wanted to sort of introduce you to be able to go out on the ice and watch sailboat racing and what you need to do. So before we jump into any videos, I'm just going to go through some safety requirements. The ice is never safe. It's never safe, okay? It's always changing. And please don't ever go out without anybody else with you. All right. Now, when I go out, I carry this just in case I need it. And the visibility gets bad, like today, I will have this on and I will be wearing this so people can see me. Now, we're going to go, but please don't ever go out on the ice without these. Anybody know what these are? These are called ice picks. Okay? This is if you fall through the ice, you will be able to, this has a little stopper here, you'll be able to drag yourself out of the water. They are required and mandatory for sailboat racers. They have to have some kind of picks. I got these from Amazon. Another important thing, carry a whistle just in case someone can't see me, just like you would on a life jacket if you're a sailor. And really, really important are cleats. Don't even think about walking out on the ice. Now, yak tracks are great, okay, but I wear them out in one regatta. So I've gone to these, and they cost $30 or $40. They fit right over my boots, but they're almost crampons. And I will certainly not fall down on the ice. Aren't going to last at all in the cold. So I buy these by the case at the beginning of the season. These are hand warmers. Most you are familiar with these. And I not only put them in my pockets, but with my camera batteries. And what I do when I'm taking photographs, to give you an idea, I have batteries in this pocket and I rotate. So then this battery looks like it's dead. It's really not, it's just cold. So that comes out, that here, this one goes up. And they're always on hand warmers, staying warm, okay? That goes for your cell phone. Make sure that you have one in your pocket for your cell phone. If your cell phone gets cold, it'll go dead. We all know that. So just keep it warm whenever it usually does. Another thing that Santa brought me, pretty cool. I haven't used them yet. These are hand warmers and they're USB. I don't know how long. You have low, medium, and high when you turn them on. And I played with them, but I haven't used them yet. So let's see if this one's got a charge. No, they don't, but they have 3 little dots at top that tell you low, medium, and high. And I'd stick these like in my mittens. I have big mittens, and I usually wear mittens with a thin pair of gloves inside my mittens so I can pull them out. And sometimes I attach my gloves just like a little kid, my mittens to my sleeve so I can drop them and not go down on the ice. Okay, that's about that. Now, what's going on right now, if you want to get out and see ice boat races, we're getting snowed out. The North American Championships for the DNs are supposed to be this week, and they schedule that championship for 1 full week. Most ice boat regattas arrive on Saturday, 3/4 of a day on Sunday, and go home. North Americans, they schedule it for a week. We get a lot of people from Europe coming for this, quite a bit from Poland will come. For the worlds and the Europeans, which are going to follow in Europe. This year, we're the North Americans. The World Championships for DNs, these kind of ice boats, the Worlds will be here next year. So here's what happened one year I covered the Worlds. I've covered it a few times. We started in Menominee. They called the race on. So we had sailors from Nova Scotia, Quebec, Ontario, all the Eastern Seaboard, New England states. Everybody drove to Menominee, Michigan, and they probably started driving today, Thursday, so they could be there Saturday for registration and to go through the race committee and the rules and where the courses are and all the safety stuff. Everybody got to Menominee. We got snowed out. We have people all over the country that are ice boat sailors looking for ice, and they're going out on the ice with drills, and they're checking the ice. And one thing they have to, in order to have a regatta, is a mile circle of ice. Can't have any heaves, okay? If you hit that with an ice boat, the boat will explode, go flying over the ice. They're not only, it's because they're the lightest, they only require 4 to 5 inches, okay? But when we get to see the stern steers and the skeeters, 5 times the size of these guys, they need 10 to 12. And the reason I'll go on to them, the reason they need 10 to 12 inches is they are being transported on trailers as long as a glider trailer, okay? And they have to get on the ice, and they have cranes so they can get the mast up, all right? And they have crossbars. They're like a big cross, and they got to get these, and they got to get them on the ice, and then they got to get the blades on them. The blades on these boats, the runners, are only about that long, but on these big boats, they're this long. So you're going to see pictures of jacks hoisting the boat up. Back to the DNs. Everybody's in Menominee. We get snowed out. They find ice in Madison, so we drive from up there down to Madison. Everybody gets set up on the ice, ready to race. We get snowed out. Somebody finds ice 60 miles south of Chicago. Remember, we started in Menominee, and we're on a frozen swamp called Lake Senachwine, and we had the Worlds. That was the year I covered the Worlds. The next Worlds, it's every 2 years. The next year, it almost was identical. Menominee, Madison, Senachwine. But this time, they got snowed out in Senachwine, and they went to the southern end of Lake Champlain. So you can imagine, if you're serious and you want to participate in the North Americans and the Worlds, you have to be prepared to travel. So most of the Europeans, they bring their runners, they bring their sails, and they're usually renting big vans, or little mini motorhomes to get around to the courses. So that's what's going to happen there. What we're going to do now, we're going to see this video. This is about, 10, 12 minutes long. And we're going to take you through Iceboats old and new. Some of the very old slides are not mine, that I got them off the internet, but I'm going to introduce to you to all different kinds of ice boats through this video. I'm going to talk through it. We're not going to use the sound, right? No worries. That's an antique ice boat. These are antique ice boats. The first one was out off Lake Menominee, off the shore of Lake Menominee. These I got off the internet years ago. This is the Deuce. This is the largest ice boat that we know right now. We're in a blizzard in Green Bay and not racing. I had to hike out there with goggles on, and they told me to be careful. This is a scooter. They're raced out on the East Coast. I want to go to the East Coast and see scooters. They don't have a rudder. They are sailed by trimming the sails. This is Green Lake, Wisconsin's Ice Yacht Club's club boat. It's built by Evinrude. Okay, another antique show. You can see how old these are when they put the years in there, how far back we go with ice boats. And with the modern stern steers, they don't look much different. Okay. This is pre-DN, long time. Wooden runners, now they're all solid metal. 1937, a 2-seater. And this is the forerunner of the Renegades. What do they call this one? And you're going to see some Renegades out there. Most of them are 50 years old, and they're gorgeous. This is a Bowie Skeeter. They race, now, if you know anything about sailing, they race one design. So in ice boating, all the boats are the same. This is a Bowie Skeeter. And sometimes the letter in the sail designates the area they're coming from. So I figured out, like Miss Geneva, whatever I means, most of them are Wisconsin, Illinois, excuse me. And this is actually a regatta called the the Northwest, and we are Green Lake, and it is a snowstorm. And I am up at the Windward Mark taking photographs, and it's pretty. I took my car up. I could drive on the ice, and I had to keep my headlights on. The race committee wanted to see me down at the starting line. These are beautiful boats. These are all Bowie Skeeters. And they all have Illinois numbers. I've never noticed that till now. You can ask me questions anytime. DN stands for Detroit News, and back in the days of the Depression, it was offered as a boat build in your basement with your kids and take out to Lake St. Clair and sail them. This is an ice opti. These are junior sailors where they have taken their Optimus Pram sail, and now we have a bit plans for it's a class now. It's a one design class in the race. This is on Lake Baikal in Siberia, and it's called an ice opti. They take their summer rig off their sailboat and they put it in DN, and they have world championships and and European championships in Europe. This is still on Lake Baikal. Now, it was beautiful blue skies, and this is that white thing up there is a Buddhist temple, and you can't go in a stupa. And in the middle of Lake Baikal, in the middle of Siberia, is a Buddhist stupa. Anyways, these are the kids racing. Most of them, some are from Moscow, some are from St. Petersburg, some are from Vladivostok, and these are the kids and the trophies they're going to win. Okay, now we're going to head to Lake Charlevoix, and we had the Ice Opti North Americans there a few years back, and it becomes a family affair with the kids. You know, if you're familiar with Ron Sherry, many-time world champion, this is his son, TJ, Trevor, that's his boat. Now the kids are learning how to use their spikes. That's what they're doing. They're dragging themselves along the ice. So they are required to wear life jackets, okay? And the camaraderie that happened, it was fun to see. This is at Lake Charlevoix. This is what we call the pits when you carry your boat down to the ice and assemble it. This is another ice opti. Okay, and these are the ice opti starting. Boyne City. This is Griffin. This is Griffin Sherry, or it's his sister. This is Sheridan. That's a girl. She's from Madison. And that's Ron Sherry and his son Griffin. We'd alternate races so the kids could race. I can explain a little bit about it. It's Lake Charlevoix. Another ice opti. Race committee. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Griffin, Racing to Flame. They built these boats with their dad because their dad builds ice boats for a living. So they got to help with the build and the design. And that's Griffin again. He's now ranked in the top 10 in the world DN sailboat racers.
Does it advantage to be lightweight?
Yes and no. If it's blowing, if it's windy, you do not have the advantage. Yeah. There's a comparison there with the Opti next to a DN. Get an idea. We're still on Lake Charlevoix. And that's our race committee chairman and Sheridan, and she won an award. We do the awards right off the ice after the regatta ends. And that's his son. He won an award. They're from Madison. And this is the trophy. It's pretty cool. And guess who won it? Griffin Sherry. That's an ice boat. That's a ice opti. And that's Ron carrying a DN on his shoulders. And Ron has a new, I don't know, probably 40, 50 pounds. Then they're going to put the crossbeam on, and they're going to put the mast and the runners, the 3 runners. Yes. I'm going to talk about those. Yes. Okay. We just missed the Boston family, but there are, for the DNs, there's Central, New England, and Western, and these are the DN ice boats. This is Torch Lake, and this was the Worlds that we held there. We had a meltdown and a thaw, so it was like having a Zamboni. It made perfect ice. For the setup days, there's a little water on the ice. That's Chris Clark rigging his boat. That's Ron Sherry getting ready for the water, the spray. He had the suit made out of like latex that went over. Fauerbach Brewery bought this photo for their poster. That's Ron. And now, what do these guys do when it's warm outside? Well, Matt Struble That's Matt 183, Ron is US 44. They race sailboats and they are rivals, but the best of friends. Matt now lives in San Diego and races A-Cats. That's Ron. And Ron races big boats. At the time this was taken, he was the helmsman on Equation when they had a TP65. And he was also when they had the Andrews 70. This is Matt. This is what he does in California as he races A-Cats. Works for Nissan. That's why he moved from Detroit out to San Diego. And here's the DN setting up on Boyne City. And this is a husband and wife, by the way. And this is how we start a race. That's the race committee out there on the ice. And here's the two steers. So when this is over, I'm going to talk about how the racing is a little bit and how to find it around here. Okay, that's me. I'm being transported. Those are my feet 3 miles offshore in Menominee. This is down in Lake Missaukee, down near Cadillac. And we were able to call this, we had this in December. We were able to race in December. It's getting really hard to find ice in December. There's a starting line there from that wooden post. This is a start of a race. I'm going to explain how that happens. This is the race committee. They're standing in front of the boats. They're getting ready to start them. This is a finish, giving them a flag. This is a scorer. Here's what a starting line looks like. The race committee is out there in the far right. And they're lined up. John Harper from Detroit. Sometimes they haul this trailer out there and you get ranked on where you're going to go on that starting line. And so they post it out there. So if you forgot where you're supposed to go, you can figure out where you're going to go on the starting line. That's a runner I've never seen before, is to keep the water from spraying on you. It's not for racing. It's just for cruising. And again, this is out off Menominee. They're practicing starts. We decided to start racing. She's up there with the flag. Those are our marks that we're going to race around, trying to get everybody in. And in order to have a race, you got to have a race committee. And these are the guys that run the windward mark. This is the world. That's Ron Sherry. If you see a P, it's Poland. If it's S, it's Sweden. D for Germany. And these are there's so many boats. They're in 3 different classes: gold, silver, and bronze. And we have qualifying races to see where you fit in if you're not ranked. And that's a finish line. Now you got to remember, I am a mile away from them. I am a mile by myself upwind of those guys. And I'm going to talk about that. This is on Indian Lake, and this is a skeeter. We couldn't sail. There was just too much snow. So I took pictures instead. This is Adrenaline. I haven't seen her in a while. You can see some of the hardware. And there she is looking down and across and above. This is Jack Jacobs. He's not with us any longer, but he's the one that got me up there. He built those. I mean, who else has varnished horses with gold leaf with your name on it but Jack? And Jack designed, this is his Boat Magic, which now has a new owner. He designed and built these boats. Now notice there's a seat there, and notice that the boom goes in front of you. So you have a full 180 degrees. Anything with the J in it, those are his design. And his designs don't have tillers. You have foot pedals to turn the rudder. And you sit up and you don't, and there's a different style, but it's still the same, to move the rudder, which is in the bow of the boat. And there's someone getting going. Had a little ice, and when it gets slow like that, he has a pusher, and he'll go out and push you to get you started. And that's in front of Jack's house. He would have everybody over. The A's an Arrow, that circle's a Renegade, all different kinds of boats. Another DN. I'm at the windward mark. He's coming around the mark and heading down the course. It's a good friend, Jörg Bond from Germany. Oh, here's another one of those shots. You can see how close together they are in the gold class. I mean, they are out there fighting. This is in Minnesota, and I was up at the windward mark. And this is, yeah, they do. I don't like to photograph those. But these are stern steers. You can see that they're all different styles. Some have jibs, some don't. I love this boat. This is Michigander. She went through the ice in Fond du Lac last fall. I hope she's getting rebuilt. Ace of spades, two-seater with a jib. Notice the rudders in the stern, okay? The rudders in the back. Miss Mischief, one guy. That's a big boat. Little Win, he's from Iowa. Wherever there's a stern steer race, he's there. This gentleman's from Wisconsin. I don't know what V stands for. This guy's from Toledo. This is a 10-meter class. It's very popular down at Toledo Ice Yacht Club. This is the boat called Wisconsin. Notice the ice spade in the front. If he needs to get over something or get himself out. And that's one guy racing that boat. I'm amazed. This boat's kind of got two side-by-side seats in the back. Miss Mischief, I think. Ace of spades. He did not tip over. He did not tip over. Okay. But they do like to hike up like that. And they like to control it and not flip, but they can. It Flirt's from Iowa too. That's his grandson sitting in the boat. This is here in Harbor Springs. I think that's Buck Neasley sailing Graham's boat. Now we're up on Canyon Ferry in Montana. And you'll notice it's a Jack Jacobs boat he built. And he's racing. He's sitting in back and the boom goes in front. He doesn't have to duck at all. I used to work in Montana, so I went to Canyon Ferry a few times. That's a homemade houseboat. Her name's Gertie. A bit of rainbows. And the Canyon Ferry is just a big bump in the Missouri River, by the way. And that's what I look like in the early days. You want to keep your feet off the ice when you're out there. And that's kind of an introduction to boats old and new. I need lights a little bit because now I'm going to talk about this so people can figure out how to get around, if I may. Sure.
The heavy bend in the masts.
Yes.
Pre-bent?
Some are, was it Kevlar? Graphite? I'm not sure. But the newer masts are not metal. The competitive masts are not metal. And they can bend. I've got pictures of some that look like that, you know. I don't understand that.
Harken block.
Most of them are Harken. They're a big promoter. Okay, this is what a race course looks like. Can everybody get a look at that? Okay. Down here is the starting line, and it's usually marked with a rope that has numbers on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. When there's over 100 boats, they usually divide everybody up by ranking. So we'll have 3 starts, like gold, silver, and bronze. Back here is where everybody sails out and drops their boats. The course is always to windward. The course is usually a mile in length from the starting line up to here. I'm usually up here a mile away. I'm dragging my sled with all my camera equipment, a tripod, a chair, so I can keep my feet off the ice. Usually a thermos of hot water. I don't want to drink coffee out there. And some snacks. So how this is going to work is they've already been qualified. We've had a qualifying race. So they're going to start up on where they are on the line. So you notice now those are facing that way and these boats are facing this way. It's what they call a Grand Prix start. The race committee is standing out here, straight up from the middle, okay? And there'll be, it's that person's called the PRO, which is shorthand for Principal Race Officer, okay? Same as in sailing. He's running the race. He's one that approved the courses. A lot of background work. He's out there days early working on the ice, finding the ice. So what's going to happen is he usually has a megaphone and he's going to go ready on the left, ready on the right. He's got a flag up and he'll drop the flag. That's when they start running, probably, 15, 20, 30 feet, and they jump in their boat and they start sailing. Okay. So some are going that way, some are going this way. All right, so you can understand now they're going way out here. They've got to go to the windward. They can't sail in this direction. So they do have to zigzag, or what they call tacking or jibing, to get up to here. Usually a race consists of 3 laps. So they're going to go up here. They're going to do this 3 times. When they come down to finish, the race committee will be out here and they make a line. and to do the, well, after the start, yep, to do the finish. Now, nobody can go through here. There is like a line of rope or like a water ski rope with the numbers on it. So it is, you have to sail around to get back here, and all the boats are sitting back here. So when you're out there and you see this, and you're up there or over there or over there, keep in mind that they're coming all the way out here or all the way out there. So keep in mind you want to get to this area but safely, usually from the downwind end. Okay, you don't want to be walking out here. All right, they may not see you. Now, in some of the pictures, you notice the DNs have a window and they sail with a boom on their shoulder and they're looking out the window to try and see traffic. They're not looking for you, so be very, very, very careful. That's another thing. So then I told you about the other thing is you got to have cleats, and I recommend definitely spikes, a charged battery, and hand warmers for sure. One thing I really, really recommend is that when you get to the parking lot where they're using, the race course might be a mile offshore. It's not going to be at the parking lot. Okay, they're going to rig their boats at the shore at the parking lot, but they might be racing a mile or two to get out there. So be prepared that you're going to walk out there. You want to bring something with you, water, snacks, cleats, spikes, and a phone that's charged up. But I would, if you've got a map app in your phone, I would like log your spot where your car is. Because if an ice storm or snowstorm comes in, you're not going to know which way to go. And you could walk right into open water. Okay. And we usually, and that can happen. And so that's why you'd log that. And another thing I recommend is I take a pair of goggles with me. I would just put goggles, snow goggles, ski goggles on your arm. If you don't need them, fine, they're just on your arm. But if you need them to walk back, you'll be able to walk back safely with your phone that's charged with a hand warmer to lead you back to the parking lot. Okay. There are racing rules are a little bit different than sailing. A little bit different. I'm not going to go into, it's usually port starboard. The red boat's port, the green one's starboard. Who keeps clear? It's a little bit different. I'm not going to go into it. I think I told you enough, like you want to stay off the center of the course and not get run over. Okay. Now, what I did about, where are they? They must be here. I printed this up. Now there's a local sailing club here. It's called Grand Traverse Ice Yacht Club. Most of them are sailors, and they're all members of Grand Traverse Yacht Club. And they usually, I brought 15 of these that I printed up. Recommendations, like I said, what to wear, what to bring, and where to go. If you want to see locally and see what's going on, go to the Josephine Ford Park ramp in Harbor Springs. See if there's ice boats out there. Okay, those guys get together by themselves by phone. They're not racing, they're just going to have fun. Okay, here in Harbor Springs. We've only raced one time, and it was sort of like scrub racing. Was I ever able to photograph races in Harbor Springs? That was after 25 years of living up here. Another place to go is Crooked Lake Ramp. I don't know, in Conway. You'll see ice boats on the ice. You'll see they'll leave their boats there if the ice is good without the runners on them, is to go to Crooked Lake. And now this is a favorite of the Traverse City Ice Yacht Club gang down there. Elk Lake. At the bottom of Elk Lake in the southwest corner is Whitewater Township Park and Ramp. And they'll go there and they'll go out. So you might get there and see all the cars and trailers, but they're a mile out. That's again why you wear the cleats and the ice picks. But if you really want to follow racing, I put on here, it's easy to remember, iceboat.org. Okay, that is the place to go. It's run by the executive director of IDNIYRA, International DN Ice Yacht Racing Association. And it's also the Four Lakes Ice Yacht Club in Madison, Wisconsin. Madison is the holy grail of ice boating. They have 4 lakes within the city. And that's where it is. She runs it. If you go to iceboat.org on the front page, it'll say racing, and you drop down window, it'll say Skeeters, Stern Steers, Knights, ISA, Northwest. You can see where all those races are scheduled and where it may be. None of them will have locations because nobody knows where they're going yet, you know, till like 3 or 4 days before. And then I also put on here for the North American DNs, the idniYRA.org site, and that's all on here. And I think, do we have another video we can run? I really want the first one. It's not going to work. Okay. So we're going to watch another video. Any questions? Yes.
At the start, how do they screw the boat so they don't skitter away? I mean, are there brakes and then? you know,
Oh,
here's the sail up
Okay.
and the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
what's that?
well, the wind is coming like this, all right? I'm facing upwind, and here's my boat, and it's canted this way. The main sheet's loose, okay? So the main sheet's fluttering, so it's not going to capture any wind. So part of the thing when you're starting racing tactics, they have like running cleats on, and they're running as fast as they can, pushing the boat, holding onto the shroud, which is the wire that holds the mast up, and the boat, and then jumping into the boat, and then pulling the main sheet in for speed. That help?
Yeah.
Yes.
Has pictures of Indian Lake. Where is
Yes.
that?
Oh, Indian Lake, Manistee.
Okay, I know, I was wondering.
Yeah,
I've been there,
Manistee.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we went
not in
to,
the winter, but.
yeah. So it was a great day for sunshine, not a good day for ice sailing.
Oh, but there.
Yes, excuse me. Oh, we're talking 60, 70 miles an hour on the DNs and the Skeeters too. And that's another interesting thing. If you're going to a contemporary ice boat regatta, DNs, Renegades, Knights, you want to be down at the starting line to watch them, because the highlight is going to be when they round the leeward mark. That's the downwind mark. This is the place to be if it's contemporary sailboats. Well, no, I'm sorry, I've got that reversed. I want to be up here because it's the most fun to get these guys going around. But if it's the stern steers, you definitely want to be here because this is the action, because the rudder's in the stern of the boat and they go around here and they're spinning. They're doing loop-de-loops and then taking off again. So if it's stern steer, you want to be down here. Okay, let's see. What can we run? Green Lake. Do we get music on this one? Okay. Okay, so we're going to go to Green Lake, and it is what they call the Northwest Regatta. It's my favorite regatta. This is the one I really, really want to get to the Northwest. It's because it's got 5 different kinds of boats racing. A lot of these boats you're going to see a couple times. Here they are. You're going to see how they set them up. The runners can't stay on the ice overnight. They got to pump the boat up. Now you're getting close-ups of some of the boats you saw in the earlier video, but they're setting up their boats. We got Bowie Skeeters, we got Skeeters, we got Renegades, we got Knights. And you can see, like, you're going to see some, that's a Skeeter. Notice the bubble, totally enclosed. You're going to see some of those. There's Rush. She's a small Skeeter. I think she's a C Skeeter versus an A Skeeter. And you can see the trailers and how they have to get them. Everybody's got horses. You want to keep your blades off the ice. You usually take them off at night. Yeah.
Next word is survive.
Yeah, okay.
Is there sidelines or rain?
That's Michigander. You can see how big she is. No, that's part of the requirements. We have a safety officer who's a first aid medic, and we also have the numbers and verified with the EMTs locally where we are and call them. Remember, I told you that boat was built by Evinrude. That's the Toledo boat. Here we are out on the ice, getting ready to race. Now, this is the race committee. Out there, they use a shotgun to go off. And it was started to be, here's the Skeeters, the A Skeeters. These guys are just, it sounds like a jet coming down the ice. They make so much noise. This is a snowstorm. this regatta, but we got some nice photos just the same. Deanne's, notice that the boom comes right down on their shoulder. See this? And that's proper racing position for a racing DN. There's a big window there so they can see through it. Usually I can tell by what the different marks look like that they're where we are.
How long does a race last?
12, 15 minutes. Yep, and then there's a time limit because sometimes you don't have any wind. And after the first boat finishes, if, oh, I don't know the exact time. If after the first boat finishes, if you don't finish within 5 minutes of that time, you're black flagged, you're out of the race. Try and get back in so we can start another race. Different ice boats. I'm sorry we don't have music, but next time. Next time, you can see what he's doing. He's flat on his back so he can see where he's going. Here's the skeeters. They are so cool to watch those guys race. Aren't they? They're beautiful. A boat being inside.
Or also lying on your back, partial sit up. It looks pretty athletic.
I'm agreed. They have a winch inside too for the mainsail. Okay, this is a Renegade. Has a circle in the sail with a dot dash dot. I don't know why, but that's a Renegade class. They're really big over in Menominee. Here, we've run out of wind. So these are the guys. You're allowed to push your boat so much to get started. And there's just no wind. He's pushing his boat around the mark. Okay, another Renegade. If you want there, GretchenDorian.com. That's my website if you want to go look at both sailboats and ice boats. I'm right at the windward mark and it's snowing. Michigander. She's so big, you can't push her back. So they come out with one of the safety vehicles and had to tow her in. Okay, JD. This is what the pit looks like. Sailing over to there because all the boats and trailers are back on shore. Isn't that fun to see all those boats? Yeah. There's Rush. She's a baby skeeter, a sea skeeter. Michigander from the stern. Honey Bucket. And there's another, that stern steer with the double seat in the back. Not many people will drive their cars out, but that year I did. I was able to drive out and sit in my car between races. 12 to 15. 12 to 15. Guys, it makes the sails. It's kind of an antique runner on that boat. Little wind. Flirt. Both Iowa boats. Flirt. The Northwest will never be here in Michigan. The majority of the boats are in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, and a few from New Jersey and New York. So, but the Bowie Skeeters and the Renegades love to name their boats. See the wheel there? They don't have a tiller. They have a wheel to turn the rudder. And that's me in my car shooting back at them. Another shot of the Green Lake. You look at the bend in that mast. This is their, that's the boom on theirs. And again, it's made by Evinrude. Some of these you might have seen in the earlier one. But I just love the way everything looks, the design of them. I think they're really pretty. That one still needs all the blocks to be attached. Here's a start. Here they are. You can see them canted, and they're going to go off in different directions. God, I'm going to say 30 feet. Oh, that's Buddy Melgis. Anybody knows him or remembers him? White Heat is his boat. He came down to race. Majority are sailors, are soft water sailors. And yeah, soft water sailors. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a range.
Like well, I can talk about a DN a little bit. You're talking, if you want a race ready boat, you're talking between $5,000 and $7,000. You know, and it's hand built for you. It's built to your size, all the dimensions inside. All right, because some people are short, some are tall, some are wide, some are skinny. Yeah. And most of these boats are all, custom built. They're all home built.
Ice boating get more publicity around here. I assume it gets it in.
I try.
See pictures or schedule or any.
Because there isn't any, there's no ice. Pardon me? Pardon me? Oh. Okay. It's just so, like, when I did a presentation last year at the Harbor Springs Historical Society, and the gentleman I was doing it with, he was saying, he goes, yeah, ice boating. I think I got out 3 times last year, without racing. He's just looking for ice to go sailing. And he thinks he only got out 3 times. So let's go. That's my favorite boat. They live here in Whitehall, and they're freighter captains. So when the freighters are up for the winter, they're racing Michigander. Sawyer's their name. Some of these you saw in the earlier one. We're back to Wisconsin. Miss Mischief in the snowstorm.
Snow doesn't bother them during the race. It's just before they have to be sure everything is smooth.
Yeah, it's just too hard to go fast through the snow, because then it starts drifting. Yeah. Yeah, you did see a couple of these before. Yeah. Meter. When these guys are racing, it's scary. Scary fast. So, yeah. And I think we're close to the end on this one. Right? Yeah, yes.
Love because clearly they love the look of their boat or ice boat. And you're taking these great photos, so they must all buy photos.
Yeah, they do. I will say one thing I do. The IDNIYRA is a nonprofit, and I donate my photos to them to use to promote sailing on their websites. So you'll see my name quite a bit to help promote it. But yeah, again, keep checking iceboat.org, see where they're racing.